I just honestly have not been like super into wanting to make content, and I know that that is what God is definitely directing me to be doing, is spreading a message about overcoming terrible obstacles and still having a positive attitude and being grateful to be alive and still feeling like good things are going to happen to me, all of which is true. However, even people who are optimistic have really bad days. And tomorrow's the 8-year anniversary of when I was pistol whipped during a robbery and got a brain injury, which changed my life and railroaded my professional career forever. I'm a person who's always been like, anniversaries or birthdays on a certain day it doesn't matter. Like, you can celebrate stuff on, if it's not the actual day, or if it's an anniversary of somebody's death, like, it's better not to focus on it, if you can't, because a lot of the people in my life are buried down in Florida, or they're in Connecticut. So I live in the Midwest and I can't just go to their grave sites anyway. So of course I'm going to be even more sad on the days of the anniversaries of when they died. So it's like I try to force myself to just, focus on what I can control and let the rest go. So I've been trying to tell myself for weeks now that it's not healthy for me to focus on this anniversary of the injury. It's a bad idea. And it serves no purpose other than, well, it would serve a purpose if I could focus on the good, which is that with God's help, I've made incredible strides, and I'm definitely living a life that should really be impossible, physically impossible, and neurologically impossible. But that doesn't mean that the permanent damage isn't permanent and it's not there. It just means I'm doing better than what I should be doing, considering the damage. Because when you get pistol whipped, like a gun's like this, right? So, and it hit on the back of my head. It hit 3 different regions of my brain because it came sideways, okay? So it's not like getting hit here, like if you're in a car accident and you get hit here. That's one region of your brain, that's your frontal lobe. But because of the shape of the gun, there's damage in 3 places, 3 different regions. So, and it was crooked, it's a crooked injury. So it didn't, it's harder to address the issues because it's more complex. It's a lot of different systems. And the way the brain works is, I like to tell the story that, let's say there's a tornado and it hits a neighborhood, right? And maybe one house, the windows blow out, but the house next to it, the whole roof caves in and it crashes in, and maybe someone's even hurt, or their whole middle of their house is crumbled into nothing. They lost everything in that particular part of the house. That's like a brain injury. A brain injury, your brain is so vast and so complex that it's like, I like to think of it as like there's like little doors everywhere, right? And so if one door is broken, the other doors are still fine, and you can enter them and go in and out of them and do everything you need to do. But what happens when you need something from the broken door? And in my case, that would be 3 broken doors. And what's confusing about it to people is because the brain injury works like those particular doors are fucked up. You know, like they're crumbled. They're not, it's not good. You can like work like relentlessly like I have for the past 8 years, every day for hours and hours, and you can try all the equipment or exercise, nutrition, whatever, meditation, whatever. And there's only so much you can move the needle, if you will. And what's confusing to people is they see me and they think, whoa, your speech is good. Your movement's fine. You don't have any like damage to your mobility. Your intellect seems sharp. So they assume that I'm not completely compromised and I'm not completely ruined as a person. But that would be incorrect. As my vision's getting worse since I lost Medicaid, and because I'm just not going to the doctor, and well, I'm going, but to local ones. I'm not going to the specialist because I'm already in so much medical debt from this disability. It's actually laughable. Anyway, so the problem is the doors that are busted for good are like really important ones, like reading, writing, being able to look at technology or screens for any prolonged length of time. A lot of times when I'm posting stuff like randomly on my page, I'm just not even looking at the screen. Like I glance at it and then I'm just pushing buttons. I'm not consuming things like other people consume things. Like I literally watch no TV or go to any movies. Watch movies at home. I guess nobody actually goes to the movies hardly anymore, but you know what I'm saying. Because the color and just the consistency of an image hurts my eyes to take it in. I can take it in for a little bit. Like I can take it in enough to like sort of get the idea of the movie, but if I prolong watch it, it's like my eyes they're so sore and I just get throbbing behind my eyes and I get migraines and headaches, and it's like, it's just too painful. So, and like you can't see chronic eye pain, just like you can't see, anybody has chronic pain like arthritis or something. Nobody can visually see that, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And obviously no one's gonna, our bodies are built to crave really pleasure and like productivity, I guess. Like our bodies are meant to like, you do something and it produces something, and so like it's an effort that is worth taking. But see, when you're disabled, you do a lot of effort and it actually produces absolutely nothing. And in fact, it actually brings you backwards. You go backwards. You literally unravel yourself. So where you were when you started doing said thing and where you are when you finish said thing, you're in a much worse place. And it turns out 9 times out of 10, you haven't accomplished what you were trying to do. Because it's really hard to do things without all your senses, which is common sense, but until you actually have to try to do something that you used to do effortlessly and absolutely never in 1,000,000,000 years would you ever think about it. Like, ever think about it. Like, okay, I got in like a fender bender or something, like this was like 6 months ago or something, right? And like, unfortunately for me, I got like a really rude cop, and he was like demanding like, you know, obviously get out my registration and my license. Well, duh. So I get it out, and then he's asking me to read it off to him, and I kept telling him I can't read. I'm disabled. Like, do you see the thing on my mirror, the disability lanyard? I didn't say it like that, but you know what I'm saying? And it's like he literally kept ignoring me, and he started yelling at me. And it didn't matter what I said. Like, he literally was an asshole. Anyway, the whole point is, these are things that just reading some numbers, like, you know how like if you order something from Amazon, you have to enter the numbers? Like, it's sometimes an impossibility, and it's so bad that because I can't read the numbers right, or the numbers swap, they move, the letters swap, they move, everything rearranges itself. It's like alphabet soup all the time. And it's like I can't explain it to people because they don't know what I'm talking about. And then they get bored, and then they don't want to listen to it. And then it's just like, well, I wouldn't have to explain it if you would just believe me the first time when I said I can't do it because I'm disabled. But literally, people will not accept that. They literally will blank out what you said because I don't really get it. I don't know what's going on in this country with people and like not giving a fucking shit about anybody, but it's like everybody's so consumed by their own personal angst and issues and whatever. They're just so narrowly focused that it's like the concept of like leaving their whatever mindset for like 2 seconds and just acknowledging a simple sentence is like, I guess, too overwhelming for them. I don't know. But it puts me in like a real shitty mood. And what ends up happening is I just give up doing things that I should really be trying 50 times harder to improve in. Which actually, being disabled, you spend a vast majority of your time trying to redo and redo and redo simple tasks over and over and over again to improve your ability so that you're like vaguely move the needle to like a fourth of what you used to be able to do. And like, you'll just do this forever, it feels like. But that's not what I want to say in this video. This sounds really negative. What I want to say is like, I don't think it's just helpful to think about anniversaries of bad things. I don't think that marks, unless you're looking at it like, I made this much progress, you know, like I want to celebrate myself for this kind of improvement. But I think it's like mentally lethal to reflect on like failures in your life that are like things you can't change. It's not working for me. And I'm getting super unhappy trying to do content sometimes because I'm struggling with just learning basic things on like my new iPad or whatever that God was so graceful to help me get. But it's like, as much as I'm so grateful, it's like I feel like I'm fucking it up because it's like every time I try to read directions to like figure out how to use it better, it's like I just get, I just waste so much. I waste hours of time, and it's like what I accomplish in those hours is minuscule. And it all has to go back to reading and writing and chronic eye pain and just the loop. It's a loop of hell, a loop, an invisible loop that nobody sees. I'm sure nobody gives a fuck about, but I think I should talk about it because I think that there's all kinds of people all over. Like, you can't look at somebody and be like, oh, they just had a stillborn child last month. You can't look at somebody and be like, oh, I think that they're struggling with bladder cancer. Like, you don't know what's going on with people, but yet everybody's so freaking judgmental and like unkind. And so I feel like people out there who feel like nobody understands them, or like they're feel overlooked, or they feel like unacknowledged, like, I just want to acknowledge you and say, like, someday I'm gonna be a disability advocate, like, on a big way, and someday I'm gonna do something really awesome about it. I'm gonna raise X amount of money, and I'm gonna do X amount of speaker engagements somehow, some way, and you know, I'm gonna do something that's gonna like improve this situation, because this is like unacceptable to live like this, to feel this lonely all the time, to feel like you're like in a mental prison. I feel like I'm in a mental prison from, yes, I shouldn't have been living like I was during that time period where I was robbed. However, I did everything right, you know. I went, met someone for an online date, like just a pre-visit before we even had a date, just to see if they were like safe. So that in broad daylight at a park at like lunchtime, like there's no reason that there would have been any reason to think that I would have been set up and assaulted by 3 men. Like, there's zero reason I should have. Well, I guess online dating anybody, anytime you're around a stranger. But actually, that's not even true, because honestly, a lot of women, and I know because I met some of them at the Blind Center when I was going there for low vision, have been like, I mean, have had their even vision taken away from them from domestic violence. Like, seriously. And that's people they know. So really, you're not safe with a stranger or someone you know, which is really fucking sad to say, but really true. That's why we all need to use discernment. But discernment can't save every single thing. I mean, there's things that are gonna happen that even if you do everything right, it's not gonna work out. Something bad could happen. And you have to be able to face that. You have to be able to live the rest of your life with some kind of meaning and purpose, and not waste your time being devastated because you're only hurting yourself. Okay, I can hear people in the church moving around, so I better stop this video and go back to praying. Okay. I hope this helps somebody.